Thank you all for traveling through the traffic tonight to get here. This is the center of mobility. And we want to thank our association sponsors for helping us, get started, pull us together. AT&T and Ericsson, as well as GSMA, and you're going to hear a little bit more about GSMA shortly. Tonight's sponsors, Digital Element and Windows. Want to also make an announcement next week is GSMA Mobile 360. So let's get into our subject tonight, connected experience. First off, I would like to take a moment and give you all a note from someone who was going to be one of our speakers tonight but couldn't attend. And the gentleman's name is Glenn Lurie. And Glenn is actually on our board, and Glenn is now actually couldn't make it to the session tonight. And it was a very tough time for him. So he said, I said, well, why don't we stay connected? And he said, okay, let's try it.
Hello everybody, Glenn Lurie here. Hope you're all doing well. And let me start off with saying I'm really sorry I couldn't be with you tonight. You guys all know how much I love to come visit with you all and the terrific work that the team does. I also always love to support Atlanta and do things here in Atlanta. And so again, I'm really sorry, but you are talking about one of my favorite topics tonight, which is the connected life. I like to say mobilizing people's lives, but reality is that's the future of mobility. It's where we're headed. It's the smartphone is the remote control to your life. It is the connected home, the connected car, the connected office, and everything in between. And I love talking about it. So again, I really wish I could be there, but you have Cameron Coursey from our emerging device organization coming to talk with you. I promise you he is much smarter than I am. He knows this inside and out, and he is our technology wizard and has been around and been a part of EDO, the emerging device team, from the beginning. So you have the right guy there to have a great night. Again, apologize. I hope to see you all soon, and I promise I'll come at another date. And I hope you all have a great time with Cameron. Thanks, and talk to you soon.
So now what we're going to do is I'm going to first, I think we'll go ahead and go through the normal process here. I would like to introduce our moderator, though, introduction to Phil Hendrix, who's going to be our moderator this evening. And a little bit of background on Phil. He's the founder and starter of immr and Gigaom, and he's an advisor to startups. So, Dan, you got to talk to Phil if you're in the startup mode. So, and the next, he's also been his focus has been on mobile devices and the connected life, so to speak, and you'll hear more about that. But he covers such things as mobile location analytics, as well as healthcare. And before that, Phil was actually a partner at Diamond Cluster, and he's worked with Mercer Management, as well as previously with the faculty of Emory University. And so we've got a few people from Emory here tonight, so appreciate that. So if you would, Phil, I'm going to let you start it off and and then we'll have Cameron do the next phase of the presentation, okay? All right. Here you go, Phil. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to start off with just a few slides, and I actually have a longer version of this presentation that I'll put up after we finish tonight. But delighted to be moderating tonight, and I'll just share a few perspectives from work that I do. Much of my work involves what's depicted here, the consumer journey, if you will, and much of that within areas that Dan focused on. How do we market to and engage consumers? But as we talk tonight about the connected life, I think we'll see the focus shifting in mobile, defined broadly, to ways in which consumers use products, and therefore the focus broadening beyond marketing transactions to enabling consumers in new and exciting ways. So what has changed, as you can see, across the bottom, not just mobile, but digital more broadly, certainly social and related technologies we'll be talking about. Glenn referred to the remote control. It's also a metaphor that I like to use. Imagine, who could have imagined 5 years ago that we would be unlocking a Mini, which we own, roughly a $25,000, $30,000 car with no human present, and then after using that car, renting it for a period of time without any human interaction, returning it, only to have the owners of that car, Zipcar, now part of Avis, right, rate us on how we actually handle and return that car, the condition that it's in. So mobile truly is the new remote in consumers' lives. Marketers, and again, I'm a recovering marketing professor, so I can say this, often use the term engagement much like someone, the guy in the bar that's hitting on women. Sorry for that sexist reference. But often we think about engaging in terms of targeting and attracting consumers. But the technologies we're talking about tonight really go well beyond that to helping customers accomplish their goals, engaging in ways that are broader but more constructive as well, that lead to enduring relationships with customers across their lives. So that's very exciting. So these gears are deliberate to depict that sort of relationship. So what is it that consumers want? And much of my work is done with consumers, but this applies to businesses as well. It's pretty simple. Generally, they want experiences, unlike getting here tonight, to be easy, frictionless, enjoyable, and ultimately rewarding. So on the one hand, as we talk tonight about some of the technologies, keep in mind the frictions that exist in everyday life and ways in which these technologies are eliminating some of those. Then on the left-hand side, as we'll see in just a moment, going beyond that and helping customers, consumers achieve goals, whether it's being better informed, making better decisions, resolving things that come up in their lives. So I'll leave you with a framework. We do a lot of work with mobile solution developers and apps. And having looked at a lot of them, particularly in areas related to mobile commerce, my sense is they fall into these four broad categories in terms of what they're doing in consumers' lives. First of all, better understanding the consumer and helping the provider, whether it's a retailer, brand, or some other solution provider, leverage data about the customers and personalize the experience in ways that make it seem seamless. So again, Uber is a poster child for that, but many others are doing that as well. But as I referred to, helping customers accomplish their goals, complete tasks and the like, so enable. Maybe an example that I got in my mailbox yesterday, we have a college student, as you know, every week, perhaps more than that. He, in this case, is requesting funds in his account, and it's a recurring challenge, but I saw yesterday that Square announced a new way of transferring money to others, and what I thought was a brilliant move, they actually offered $1 for anyone who signs up and then sends that dollar to the recipient. So brilliant marketing move, but again, Square and others really enhancing the process as well. So I was delighted and probably one of the first to sign up with that. And then finally, particularly as we talk about areas related to health, but also mobile commerce, as Dan suggested, rewarding consumers for behaviors that are both in their interest, but also the client's interest as well. So I'll just leave you with this case. I've been immersed in beacons over the last few months, speaking, but also advising startups as well as large clients. But here are the complexities that our speakers will touch on tonight. So let's take beacons, which are in the news these days, but here's an example from CBS, who, by the way, I do not work with, but it's typical of the challenges that clients as well as brands face. Where do you put them, okay? And here are 6 out of dozens of places within the store in which beacons could be placed. How do you engage consumers? Right now, intriguing technology, but there are a lot of bottlenecks. Most consumers don't have the apps installed that allow them to interact with the beacons in the store. But let's add just one more layer of complexity just to acknowledge. Brands own much of the information related to products in the store, so if we are going to engage, which information is presented, who owns that information, what about the data that results from those kinds of interactions and the like as well. So intriguing, relatively simple technology, lots of opportunities, everyone's excited about it, but it raises a whole array of issues around how retailers, brands, and others partner together to leverage this kind of technology, and time permitting, we might come back to that. So that's all that I have for tonight. I think my job next is to introduce Cameron. Cameron, if you'll come on up. Glenn?